Okay, so welcome everybody to the World of Ability Podcast Network. My name is Emily Gomer, and a podcast engineer, scheduler, virtual assistant here, and we're very excited to bring you another episode of the Mastery of Connections with our very own master connector, Alan Holmes. They're actually called the Master Connector, or MC Holmes. Um, and so we've been doing this show since earlier this year, since February, and it's every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Central, 8 o'clock Pacific, and it's all about making connections, networking, and so on. Uh, just as Alan likes to say, it's not about me, it's about we. And so, with nothing further ado, I am going to bring in Alan to help us kick off today. So, welcome, Alan.
Yes, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yep, you're good, Alan.
Okay, welcome to the Master, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Mastery of Cab. As we always know, it's about not about me, it's about guests. But before we bring our second guest there in council, let's bring in Miss Pam Kelly, parent creator of I Prep to Thrive. It's an amazing organization that prepping you need to be done in a life of everyday businesses, and the mission that she definitely has brought out it was a gift to her through a pastor. So it is it is for the Black community. However, it is for all communities. But this is Pam Kelly. Are you there somewhere in the world of Mastery of Connections show? Welcome to the crowd, young lady. Thank you. It is the breeze I did hear in my ear before. The weather out here in California is great, but we're all over the globe here on the Mastery of Connections. Can you say a little bit? Start by how did you come up with this idea of I Prep to Thrive? The mission behind it.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you, Alan,
Pam,
for
can you
giving
hear
me an
me?
opportunity to share. Yes, I can. Can you hear me? Okay. So,
Yes,
yes,
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I am a
Go for it.
prep. Yeah. So, can everyone hear me? Is audio's not choppy? Okay, great, great. And it's nice to see that you have a program that has a global audience. That's wonderful. So, I'm a prepper, and I have to distinguish that I'm not a doomsday prepper because I think that is typically the first thought of people when they hear someone who self-identifies as a prepper. I really consider myself a faith prepper and even a futurist because as a Christian woman, I believe that if you have faith and you believe in what God has prepared for you, then you will prepare for the future. You have no fear of the future. And so that is kind of my position with regard to preparedness, which it was not always my lifestyle. Actually, back in 1996, there was a hurricane in North Carolina. I had two small children. I managed a home. I was newly divorced, unfortunately, and my children's father was out of town. So I endured a hurricane and the aftermath of it, almost 14 days with no power, very little resources financially. So for me, it was actually a doomsday moment for me financially, strategically, tactically. So that was the first time in my life that I found myself just totally unprepared. And it wasn't so much money because I had a good job. And you get into a habit of thinking that, okay, it's okay to spend 100% of your dollar because you're going to get another paycheck in the next, week or so. So that's when this hurricane happened. It was devastating. And fortunately, I did, recover from it. But I made a commitment to myself that I would never find myself in such a vulnerable position. Easier said than done. Fortunately, my kids, they remember it only as the greatest outdoor adventure, but I was traumatized by it. But I tried to change habits, but later on, other situations continued to happen that were primarily, financial. And a minister related to me one day. He said, Sister Pam, you simply have to stop spending all of your dollar. And with two young children, I thanked him for the advice, but I said, I simply can't do. I'm doing that the best that I can. He said, just try to get to the point where you're not spending all of your dollar. Just start where you are and you'll get there. From his wisdom, I actually devised over the years a way of kind of disciplining my habits that took advantage of some of the tools that we all have on our computers, such as Microsoft Excel. So I created a spreadsheet that actually, when you enter your income, it automatically buckets your money into four sections. 75%, which that is the objective by which we should all probably try to not consume all of our dollar, but stay at 75% or less. Why 75% or less? Because that way you do have 10% to put towards saving, which up until that time I was not consistent. But with this tool, which I call 5, 10, 10, 75, I was able to eventually get to a point where I was at 75% or below of my income dollar. You're able to save 10%, you're able to give 10%, and 5% is for intentional investing in your community. And while other cultures, and this is why there is a cultural relevance to this, while other cultures or the majority culture probably do this, seamlessly, that their dollar is, perhaps going into those buckets and helping folks in their community. In the African American community, it's not as seamless. You just don't, you can't tell simply by a name in a yellow phone book that who has a business that would benefit from kinship community support. And when I refer to kinship community, I want to clarify that all of us. Oh, can everyone hear me? Mm-hmm. Does anyone have a question
Yeah.
at any time? Okay, sure, Emily. Oh, okay. So as a person who promotes preparedness, I found that 5, 10, 10, 75, which I now promote as an app, is actually available on Google Play and App Store. And I still have it as the Excel spreadsheet, which I make available to everyone because I found that it is, regardless of one's ethnicity or where you're at in life, in America, 78% of Americans, and this was as of 2022, 78% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. That's just incredible. But when you look at what's going on with inflation and so many other things taking place in our economy, is not that surprising. And so the advice that was given to me years ago is really the same advice that can apply to many people in terms of trying to get out of debt. We really have to begin to look at our priorities. And so that's something I had to do. And so this tool, 5, 10, 10, 75, helped me. I've now made it into an app that's available to everyone. And it's just $2.99. And why did I do that? Because I'm simply kind of a messenger of what a pastor shared with me, which I developed into an app, which everybody can then use simply as a guide to reduce spending and be able to save for what I call tier 1 preparedness. Your stuff hits the fan, cash stash, because that was my weak point. I had to learn to first have a cash emergency cash stash. So, fast forward to 2024. Fortunately, I was able to retire, and I said, well, I didn't want to keep this information to myself. So back in 2020, I actually formed I Prep to Thrive. And then the COVID happened and everything shut down. And I was actually still working. I hadn't retired. And also, I became sole caregiver of my mom. So, all of those things, sometimes you just have to put the mission on hold. And fortunately, this year, I've been able to devote really full time to what to me is a mission. It's not so much really a business. I provide the information on my website, which is ipreptothrive.com, to provide resources and information, products and services to enhance what I call tier one preparedness. And the reason I call it tier one is because there's various tiers of preparedness. When we talk about preparedness, it could be about investment, planning and preparing for retirement, or planning, preparing for investment. But I kind of stay in my lane and focus on those things for which I found that I was unprepared back in 1996 during Hurricane Fran. I did not have a sufficient water and food preparedness pantry. So this is what tier one is. Tier one preparedness means to me, and that I promote. You have to have your, number one, you have to have your water and food preparedness pantry. Number two, you have to build or fortify your power, your backup power preparedness. Number three, your communications. So actually, those three are really what I call earthly powers, because without water, without power, without communications, we pretty much, as a civilization, come to a standstill, don't we? So those first three are primary priorities for every family. And then number four, preparing and saving your important documents, such as your will, your living will, insurance, power of attorney, trust. Those things, while they may seem upper tier, when stuff hits the fan, you need to have those documents prepared, backed up, and ready to travel with you. So those are the activities that and goals that I concentrate on and share with everyone. And beyond that, specifically and culturally, there is a statistic that, especially this preparedness month, September is National Preparedness Month, that constantly comes to the forefront of my mind, because I am a member of the African American community. There is a statistic that by 2053, African American median wealth will decrease to zero. And I've been aware of that statistic since 2019, and I pretty much was in denial about it. But the more I investigated, I realized that it is very valid. In fact, because we have a $1.6 trillion economy that basically, not economy, we have a $1.6 trillion spending power that actually leaves our community within the day. So if you compound that every year, really since 1877, which was the end of Reconstruction, you compound that, and that money is leaving a community and going really into another community by which they grow, which legitimately, by which they grow and compound their wealth, then basically there is no wealth growth. So by 2053, assuming that we do not change how we steward and manage, our dollar, that 1.6 trillion, and which is 1.8 trillion this year, 2024. There could be a trajectory into, a new lifestyle, or unfortunate absence of it, of decreased quality of life, long-term debt, lifelong debt, lifelong employment. So that is something that concerns me, for which I have actually created a new campaign called Nope, Not on Our Watch. So that's something I'm excited about. So just to kind of wrap up, I promote Tier 1 preparedness. And beyond that, a more culturally specific campaign called Nope, Not on Our Watch. And you can learn more about that at my website. You can enter Century 1010 Century 5 10 10 75, no spaces, Century 5 10 10 75.com. So I want to thank you for letting me share that information, and I'm open to answering any questions. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for
Or if
joining.
anyone wants to put a question in the chat,
All right.
that's fine.
Yeah, thank you for joining us today.
Alan,
do you have any?
well, because it's actually, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Can you
Now
hear
I
me?
can.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
sorry,
were
I
a
was
little
having
choppy earlier. Yep.
just to let you know that. Okay, yeah, sorry, but I may have to refresh
Yeah,
it,
the
but just to
audio is
let you
kind of
know that
choppy.
this is. Oh, oh.
Yeah, you're going to have to put the question in the chat, perhaps. Or I wonder if it could be my internet connection. I'm not sure.
Thank you, man. Joe, do you have any questions? For joining us today.
Oh, I'd also like to mention one unique feature of iPrep to Thrive is that we do have a membership. It's just $10 a year. It's which is really so affordable and accessible as to be symbolic. Because again, I'm not trying to make a million here, but just to share information. But as folks become members and refer members, embedded in my business 5 10 10 75, in that 75% bucket, which covers my business expenses, I embed 17% to pay or to share with members who refer other members. So this is not MLM, none of that downline drama. It's just a way for me, rather than to advertise in traditional print media. I pretty much share the information, as we're doing here, Alan, to people for whom preparedness is important. And I hope, at this time in our country, it becomes kind of imperative. But I like to share the blessing with folks who become members and refer other members. So I call it passive referral, member share. So I look forward to learning more about
to get that out to our
what your other
audience,
guests
and I
may
want to
want to
thank you for
share.
your time today.
Actually, so time goes by very fast when you're talking preparedness. So again, if you have any questions, just let me know.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And again, you can go to
I know,
Century
have a
5
another
10
meeting, but you're
10
more than
75.com to learn all about the Nope, Not on Our Watch campaign.
Alan, what were you saying? I think.
So we've got about 3 minutes, coming up on 11:30. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Gary, do you have any questions? Oh, we lost. I think we lost our guest here.
Okay.
Here we go.
Yeah, I will.
There.
You got it? Okay. I was letting them know that this is for those who are listening live. in the and actually in the replay. This is the Mastery of Connection show. We just had Miss Pam Kelly on there, but I had a little technical issues. I apologize, but I just want to let you know with the Mastery of Connection, we're always leaving great shows. And before we say farewell to Miss, I apologize for the technical. But did you have any individuals could find you, because as this is a replay, you'll find you online, because it of course be on our connection Facebook, LinkedIn group, as well as
Okay.
the disability channel which we have here and supports us. But go ahead, Ms. Kelly.
Sure, sure. For more information on I Prep to Thrive, you can go to letter I, Prep 2, the number 2, thrive.com. And for information on the campaign called Nope, Not on Our Watch, go to century5101075.com. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kelly, for being here. For welcome. All right. Emily, as we roll on, I don't know if Darren is still in the waiting room or cut, as we see. But Darren, counsel, was a gentleman I met along the way. He is a American hero and a father. Is he still with us? Oh, as I say,
Yep,
and they
he's
wish
here.
veterans
Yes, I'm
always
here.
are always in the back of the room. There he is, Mr. Darren. Apologize for the wait, but this is what we do at the Mastery of Connections. You never know who's going to pop by, and we had the incredible Pam Kelly, and we're going to just roll into your time because you know his time is valuable. But Darren, welcome to the family. The Mastery of Connection show. First of all, thank you for being a great country and the veterans. Where as the Mastery of Connections supports the veterans, we have Project Die Hard, which you can learn about later. But this is a Mastery that talks about various different topics, and now this is your shine. A bit about your journey, who you are, and a little bit about your business and your mission.
Oh man, so just making sure you can hear me. I'm good. Am I good to go?
Yes,
I
sir.
just so I wanted to start by saying you're welcome for your service. I actually joined
Yes, sir.
during
You
a
good.
time where I'm good. Okay. I joined the military during a time where I didn't know what I wanted to do, man. I was working I was like 20 something years old, and I was like, man, what can I got to do something with my life, man. You know, I was trying to go to school, I failed, but I was like, man, I got to do something. And my friends, they joined the military, and then I was like, well, man, that seems like a solid idea. I guess I better join too. And so that's where it all began. The rest is history, as they say. Um, and I've always tried to be this person that wanted to be a man of purpose. I want to be a man of purpose. I wanted to lead with purpose. And I think the military created that within me. I've been married for 20 years, over 21 years now, with 3 children, 1 in college. And I see myself just as one leading the way for our Black males to really see a positive influence and role model. And I think that's when that's kind of a little bit of how the book came about. Heroes Your Community Awaits is during the time of racial upheaval, during George Floyd, and when it would seem like it was a Black man getting shot by police every 5 seconds or every day. It was somebody else on the screen. And I think it was, or at least it seemed to me as if it was happening. Now, that may have not been the case, but it just seemed like every day it was something new. And I went through this cycle of trying to figure out how I could be uh, um valuable to our community. Just like Miss Pam, I believe her name was, said previously. I wanted to see how I can be of benefit to the community. So instead of like going on Facebook or going on social media and just ranting and being a keyboard activist. I wanted to do something tangible. And so my wife, she actually was helping young children write books and publish books on Amazon. And I was like, well, hey, babe, how about I write a book? You know what I'm saying? You can already do the editing. You can do this. You can kind of help me launch it. And she was like, sure. And so at one point, I think it was one day, I actually wrote my whole book, like I think in 2 days. I already had it in me, already knew what I wanted to do. Now the process of editing and formatting it and getting it in a flow obviously took a little longer, but the actual time when I actually kind of quote unquote threw up on the on the paper or on the keyboard was like a day. And then like over the span of about 5-6 months, I was able to publish the book Heroes Your Community Awaits, that's available on Amazon. And I think that through that or whatever, I just wanted to be able to tell my younger self what it looked like. You know, what and the whole premise and the whole thing about Heroes Your Community Awaits was, you know, how can I encourage my younger self through all these tough times or whatever to keep your head up and to keep striving for greatness. And that's essentially what happened. Is I wrote it's a 10 chapter book. Each chapter is only about 3-4 pages long, but I did that on purpose so that so that the reader can digest kind of what's in the book and say, hey man, like I'm going through this. Yes, I can go and I can understand what this chapter is talking about, but then it applies questions as well at the end of each chapter. And essentially, that's what I wanted to be able to offer to my younger self is saying, hey, man, like you got what it takes. You got everything that you need. You just have to be able to look around and see where it's at. But then also identify like, okay, what's bringing me down? What's having me feel like I can't be anything? And then identify that as well, because we have those same voices in our head saying that, hey, we can do everything. And then we got those voices that say we can't do anything. And so we have to be able to decipher, you know, what voices are we going to listen to, whether it be through friends, family, associates, classmates, all of those different type of voices. What are we going to say? And I'm a man of God, I'm a man of faith. So, you know what I'm saying? Are we going to listen to our own self-doubt in our head, or are we going to listen to a higher being? And so that's really what the book is about. And then on top of that, I was like, well, hey, now I want to be able to create a platform where we can actually talk through these things. And so that's when Young Kings Rising, the podcast and the YouTube was created as well, to be able to offer some sort of daily motivation and encouragement that goes along with the book, to be able to say, hey, this is the thing, different things that you can do tangibly this very day, this very second, that can improve your life and strengthen your life.
Awesome.
Absolutely, absolutely. Darren, for giving such an incredible, you know, we let us know
I can't I
because
can't
this
hear
will go
you.
out across the YouTube. Oh, you can't hear me? Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, I
Uh
can hear you now. You were just breaking up quite a bit.
oh. Okay. What I was saying is, thank you for being here for today. And before we just let you know that connections on LinkedIn and Facebook group, and we're going to definitely go. It was because of our great Emily Gomer and Kurt Roscoe allows us to be on this incredible platform. The disability. So your word and your message is definitely going to come out, especially since we're supporting veterans. But they say goodbye. Can you give us a little bit about where audience can actually find you? Social media, where can they find you?
The easiest way right now is to go and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Young Kings Rising, YOUNGKING. Say again.
No, I think he was just wondering. It was still his question about where to find you.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yes. So DarrenCouncil.com is in construction right now. So I don't have a website, but I do have the social media links, and you can find me on all platforms at Young Kings Rising or DarrenLCouncil@gmail.com.
Sounds good.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jen. And we definitely would like to get a message out to your vision and your book, and make sure we go on Amazon and order, because we support veterans every day. Emily, thank you so much for hosting this. You and the rest of the crew. Before we close out here,
There we go. Okay, let me myself on here. Uh, so, uh, again, we are here every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Central. And we are going out to YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. So 9 at the moment. And we can get this on Easy Expo as well, which is a virtual booth platform. But I see Christian and Marianne here. Kurt, do you have anything you'd like to say? Quick, adding to.
Yeah, I am pleased to meet Darren here. Nice to meet you, Darren. So I'm looking forward to our newly embarked future with you, Darren, and your program. And great to have our show and everything. Helping out the kids. So with Christian, Alan, Emily, and me, we hop on that bandwagon, and anything we can do to help that program, Darren, just keep us posted here at Mastery of Connections on what we can do to serve, and anything we can do to let our audiences know how the work you're doing can be boosted and help the future with their kids. So thanks for providing great show, and glad to be here and be a part of it. Back to you.
Alan, are you there?
yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Can you hear me? Did I lose it again?
No, we can hear you, Alan. Oh, thanks. Lost Alan here, but I'd like to thank everybody for joining. Um, Hold on. All right. Alan back. Yep.
Can you hear me, Emily? Okay.
Yes, Alan.
Yes, I know that. Today has been it's been a one. Before we close it, but I appreciate you. I just wanted to leave showcase his massive connections theme as we bring on Mr. Christian, who is Eastern Conversation for All on Fridays. Can you hear
Yeah,
us?
good morning. Good morning. I think you're having some audio issues, but I'm glad that you're on here. Darren, it's nice to hear the work that you're doing. Definitely we'll reach out and see what we can do to help support and uplift the communities. So, I mean, that's a lot of great work. I know there were some audio issues and other issues, but when you're doing the good work, there's going to be always opposition. So, much luck to you. Again, it's nothing that we haven't faced. However, there are things that we can do differently. And you spoke about many voices, and I think that just goes back to one of the biggest things that I've noticed in my just development of myself is by listening and knowing that God is good. You know, that's one thing we got to remember. And let's just say that divinity is good. Let's say that everything that is for us is good. So then we know that when we have doubts or when we have questions or we hear things that aren't good, there's that beacon. There's no question. There's no doubt. There's no maybe, shoulda, coulda, what if I did, maybe I don't really kind of like it. No, no, no. It's right. And then there's wrong. And then there's good. And that's what's good for everybody. So I think that's beautiful. But listening to ourselves, equipping young men. I know that's the emphasis of you and your organization, but also is that's the future, and it's also the sustainable folks that we have out there right now, young men that are growing up differently than what we did, and in a different world than we did. And so now we can just share with each other, uplift with each other, celebrate one another instead of sitting there like we used to. And just because we used to do it one way doesn't mean that that's the way that it needs to be done. As long as we're actively listening, as long as we're sitting there and have a wonderful, it's just called listening and understanding. We can be better leaders because then we will lead with action. So I invite you to tell us exactly what we can do as an actionable today to help our veterans. Because yes, my name is Christian, EC Marketing. As you guys know, we have Friday at 1 with our conversation for all, featuring EC Marketing for All. But really, it's a testament and raise awareness to our 22 veterans that are being lost to suicide rate in today. The suicide rate for veterans is extremely high. It's something, actual statistic is a little bit increased from what I remember Zach and somebody else speaking about. But I think just generally as a whole, men taking their lives, it's very saddening. And I've been in situations, I've been in that dark place. And again, I go back to, we have doubts, we have voices, and we have things that we hear, but it's not good. So we ought to know that it's not for us and it's not what God intended or what is good for us. Is obviously we can pass that plate along. So it's discernment, it's listening, and it's taking action on what we can do today. What we can do today to better equip our youth or ourselves and support our communities. Raise awareness for our disability, today's disability channel, World of Ability Podcast Network, projectdiehard.org, and thank you for Mastery Connections, Alan Holmes.
Thank you. It's always it's great to hear. As we say goodbye, Emily, you want to go ahead and saying where we can find us and kind of closing us out before we get ready for next week's Massive Connection.
Just real quick, Emily, I've got a question. Do we have Mary Ann with us?
I was just going to bring that up, Kurt.
Okay.
Alan, we do have Marianne here. There she goes. We didn't have her. She didn't have her video on for the longest time. But Marianne, are you able to say anything at the moment?
Aloha, can you see me?
No, we're seeing the light switches on the floor. But yeah, but you have your camera on though.
I'm trying to so you can see me correctly. How about now?
Nope. We're seeing the camera.
Well, aloha, can you hear me?
Yes.
having a little technical difficulty because I'm traveling. But I just want to thank Alan so much for having this weekly podcast and supporting the veterans. And I'm Marianne of Waikiki. I'm a book author. My books are the Acts of Kindness series featuring 200 folk manus puppets, and my books are written for animation movies with sign language characters and soundtrack by Lucy and the Perfect Wave. And Alan, we talk about hearing loss, especially with the military. We have a half a billion people worldwide with a hearing loss now. We have millions of moms and dads coming home from being of service who can't hear their own children or grandchildren. And I had the opportunity to meet with the chief of audiology at Tripler Army Medical Hospital on the island of Oahu, Hawaii. And she was tears of joy reading my books. And we tried to get a grant to incorporate the books with the military moms and dads returning who lost their hearing. And they wanted their hearing back. But I wanted to give them a solution of using another form of communication, such as sign language. And if their children were receiving the books in their classroom from Donors Choose, for the books for ocean cleanup, anti-bullying, climate change is being developed, and we have the folk manus puppets that do the ASL finger spelling now on YouTube and Apple app games. And we want to share that with the militaries around the world. We can still continue to multiply the acts of kindness. One, Alan, is all classroom teachers in the United States of America can receive copies of the Acts of Kindness series books and now 3 coloring books from donorschoose.org. The teacher just needs a teacher ID to request copies of the books and post it, and someone will come and fund it. Now, in Hawaii last year, Subaru Hawaii gave $25,000 to classroom teachers requesting products for their classrooms. So again, these are educational tools. We feature Noah, the hard of hearing whale, who's recruited by a sea turtle called the General of the New Earth Army to tackle what the Great Pacific Garbage Patch between Hawaii and California. It's our global crisis that's happening with pollution and plastics, climate change. So again, these are educational books that all families can get from donorschoose.org. And Alan, I was an awesome grant winner foundation, excuse me, in July. It took me 10 minutes to request these books, and we are gifting them to the Waikiki School for the Deaf. I won $1,000 grant. Every month, Awesome Grant Foundation gives $1,000 away to various states, to different chapters, which is there is a disability. So you have from the 1st to the 10th of every month to go on, share your story, share your project. The question is, how will you use that grant money? You can upload photos, which I did, of my coloring books, and Minnesota Awesome Grant Foundation is reviewing. They love the coloring books. They asked me to contact the Minnesota School for the Deaf, the librarian, which we did, who is requesting books for the Minnesota School for the Deaf, so we can multiply this acts of kindness. So again, Alan, veterans out there with projects can apply on the disability chapter of Awesome Foundation. They give $12,000 a year. You could be a winner, Alan. Kurt could be a winner for On the Water because they do events on the water, and Kurt is taking out persons with disabilities water skiing. His projects, his wife Sue can apply. So that's another $2,000. Emily can apply. That's $1,000 that she could win. So there's so many people on the World of Ability that have that opportunity to request for $1,000 for their project. So I just wanted to share all that updated information and what we're doing to multiply the acts of kindness, especially for the veterans. Please follow me on Thursday because part of that grant money, I hired Jay Stoyan, founder of the Disability Channel, who will hire persons with disabilities, veterans, to interview me. And we are on our 4th week of the show. We'll be going for 4 months strong, and they are uploading flyers, doing all the work for me, incorporating the book flyers into commercials during our interviews. So you're welcome to join us as well, Ellen. This week, we believe we have Dr. Liddy joining us, my intellectual property attorney, Patty, who wrote a book called Your Best Dash Light, who is willing to donate a percent to veterans of her book sales with Jay during the next 4 months. So Kurt, we need you to get some agreement forms to these amazing guests that are coming to support veterans. And we also have Santa Papa John.
Good,
So
Marianne.
Alan,
Marianne,
yes.
we need to wrap this up.
Okay, well,
So
I'm done.
thank you, thank you, Marianne, for your information. And you can find this on the show, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. Can be on Easy Expo. And we are here every Wednesday. But Alan, did you have any last thoughts you'd like to say before?
Oh, absolutely.
Wrap up
Can you
here?
hear me? Yeah. Despite the.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah. Despite the technical, I really appreciate you, Emily and Kurt. Thank you, Marianne. And of course, our guest, which was Darren Council and Pam Kelly. Until next week, Mastery of Connections show. I'd like to say thank you and goodwill, and make sure that you check us out on LinkedIn and Facebook. And of course, next week when we have another amazing show. Thank you so much for your time.